Hi, this is Annie from the ADHD Minimalist, and technically today I was cleaning my house. As you can see, I am all ready to clean, but I sat down to work on my blog for a little bit. So here we're up on my blog, and I realized that I had a post on here that I hadn't made a YouTube video about, and sometimes I make YouTube videos first and then I'll make a blog post about them, and sometimes I make a blog post first and then I make a YouTube video about it. But the point is, if you look at my blog, you'll often find the written equivalent of a blog post. So for instance, if we go over here, look here, I can scroll down, but all of these posts, things that accumulate in bathrooms that you don't actually need. These are all posts about things that you can get rid of that most people won't miss. 33 things in your home office you can get rid of today. 34 items in your closet that you can toss and never miss. And then there's one about kitchens. And anyway, these posts all have the paper version here with the list if you want to read it, or if you want to look at it while you're trying to declutter, you can grab it and pull it up on your phone, and then you won't have to listen to me say all the things again. You can just look at them. So if you see a YouTube video and you were like, oh, I'd really rather read about that, or I would like to find a version in written word, then you can come over to my blog, the ADHDminimalist.com, and then go to the search bar here. And for some odd reason, my theme, Akabato, it does better if you just search in general terms. So try not to type in the exact title on the YouTube video if you're looking in the blog, but use keywords instead. So I noticed that this one post about kids' toys that you can get rid of and not miss, I didn't actually make a video about it. So I thought I might look at that today and do a quick video about that, because that's something that I think a lot of us struggle with, is having too many kids' clothes. So let's hear 17 kids' toys you can toss and never miss. And we're going to go down to the list here. Okay, well, originally I started throwing out stuff because I was sick of kids' toys. So I started decluttering kids' toys before I was ready to declutter anything else in my home. When my youngest was really little, I was at home with 3 kids, and my older 2 have ADHD. And I thought if I had more toys, I would entertain them for longer periods of time. But what I actually noticed was that the opposite was true. The kids would just get out more and more and more toys and dump them in a huge pile in the living room. And honestly, like one day I walked in and I stepped on stuff and hurt my foot, and the living room was just like covered in, like, I don't know, a couple inches of toys behind the couch, and I about had it. So I started tossing stuff out that wasn't in categories. So I kept main categories, like Legos were in one category, or craft supplies, or the wooden train set, and Barbies was another category. And so these main categories went out into a toy library. So then I just brought in one thing at a time, and the kids could play with that, and then they could pick it up because it all went in the same bin. So that drastically simplified picking up. I didn't have to pick up for them, because my kids, when they have ADHD, like sorting a bunch of toys that were all mixed together, it was just overwhelming for them. They didn't know how to get started or what to do, or they didn't even know where to put it because I didn't label the bins properly. So learn from my mistakes, please. Anyway, so then I started thinking about which toys that I thought were completely unnecessary and that were really hard for my kids to pick up, and made this list a while ago, but we're going to read it up here now. So let's see, toys you can get rid of and your kids won't miss, or at least you'll be glad that you got rid of them. And we're over here on the blog. So, toys with missing pieces would be my first point. McDonald's toys, toys from very cheap chain stores. Now, there's a reason I'm telling you to get rid of toys from really cheap chain stores, and that's because that sometimes these toys have lead paint on them, and they're doing better now about checking this in the United States, but if you live in other countries, they may still be shipping in toys from China that have lead paint, and you don't know it because it might not say on the package. So be wary of things that are really cheap or that are surprisingly cheap, because usually you get what you pay for. Number 4, books your kids never choose to read, and books that mom or dad hates reading is number 5. Books that are torn or broken, unless they're very nostalgic, you can go ahead and get rid of those. Sometimes the kids tore up a book that I really liked or that I had when I was a kid, and what I did is I just went and I bought a new one. Then it wasn't the same one I had when I was a child, but it was actually readable. Because sometimes the books that have these, you open the little thing and you look at the picture inside and you close it, or books that are more like toys that are interactive, they break first. Board games that your kids never choose to play, board games that you don't have all the pieces to, board games with broken pieces. Please get rid of those. Board games that are not appropriate for your child, and I guess the point of this is sometimes we have stuff that's not age appropriate, but they either grew out of it or they're growing into it. But sometimes we have things that are not appropriate because maybe your children have dyslexia or ADHD, and then these games just do not work for them. So I know I had to go through all of our games, actually have a post on that in the blog, and I have some games that I recommend for kids that have ADHD and or dyslexia, because some of the games that I like, my kids can't play. So get rid of games if you know that you're not going to use them because they're not appropriate for your child. 11, toys that your kids never choose to play with, toys your child grew out of, toys that are broken, toys that your kids don't like. Even if they're nostalgic toys for you or your partner, I've kind of learned that I had to quit putting my toys in my kids' rooms because I was trying to just put off decluttering decisions about my childhood toys. So I just gave them to my kids, and my kids didn't appreciate them. So I had to finally take all of my stuff out of the room and my books from when I was a kid out of the rooms, go through them all, declutter them. And that was really hard for me. And then I had to put them on my bookshelf and make sure that I kept my kids maybe in my tub that I had my nostalgic things in, instead of making my kids have them in their room. So, get rid of toys that your kids don't like. Toys that you have extra of in the same category. Suddenly we couldn't shut the lid on our Duplo box, and when I started looking at it, we had accumulated a lot more Duplos than I realized. And so sometimes that happens and it just creeps up on you. Your kids get stuff for birthdays and then the lid on the toy box won't shut. But then usually the stuff at the very bottom is stuff that the kids haven't played with for a long time. So what I usually do is I just dump it upside down, and then the stuff that ends up on the top, though, when you dump it out, that's the stuff that the kids don't think is interesting because it's just stuck on the bottom. So get rid of the stuff on the bottom or sell the stuff on the bottom. This year, toys that attract more toys you can get rid of. These would be toys like toy kitchens that accumulate endless supplies of toy food, and toy kitchen gadgets would be one example of this. You could even have sandbox toys that accumulate more toys, or maybe dress up clothes that accumulate more items. For if you're going to be a nurse, then you need to have the doctor's bag and you need to have other stuff that goes with the nurse clothes. So sometimes if you can eliminate one toy, you can eliminate more. 17, toys that your kids don't like to pick up that often get stepped on. So save your feet. I know I've stepped on my fair share of toys, and I don't suggest getting rid of all your Legos because I feel like those are kind of educational toys, but Legos hurt. So if you can and have a sewing machine, what they do in Sweden is sew a big round piece of material. They cut it in a big round circle, probably about, a yard and a half by a yard and a half, and then you sew a little strip around the top. You fold it over and sew it down, so you put a string in there, and then you can just open it up and all the Legos are there and they can play on the floor, and then you just pull the string and hide the Legos in the bag, and you don't have to pick them all up, which is quite amazing because I don't like to have to pick up small Legos, and my kids don't either. So maybe one day I will make a video about how to make one of those. But anyway, thanks for joining me today and spending a little part of your day with me. And if you need more inspiration about decluttering, you can head over to my other YouTube videos where I talk about items in different areas of the home that most people can get rid of and not miss. I also have videos about how to declutter kids' clothes and clothes for grown-ups, as well as a lot of other videos. But I highly suggest the video about how to declutter kids' clothes so they won't miss a thing. Good luck. Bye.